I have once again been personally victimized by my own algorithm. Many months ago, I was shown a wonderful video by Prickly Alpaca where she made a porcelain corset. And since then, my entire feed has been plagued with version upon version of this. I cannot escape it, and because of that, my brain has been like, we gotta do this, we have to make this, there is no escape from the porcelain corset. So this week, I have finally mustered up enough delusion to make myself think I'm capable of doing this, so we're doing it. If you have never seen these online, what they are essentially is a hard corset that looks like it's made of porcelain. It often has a lot of filigree detail on it. Sometimes it has additional like rhinestones or beads or other shiny things adorning it. But essentially, it is a hard corset with a shiny finish and beautiful detailing. They were originally made by a creator called Candy Makeup Artist. Hers are like ungodly good. Only magic can explain how wonderful they are. But I've seen a lot of other creators try to recreate, put their own spin on them, and a lot of people seem to be using Worbla and craft foam. So I got my hands on some. We're gonna try that today. We are once again dipping our toe into skills I have no business knowing, but we're gonna try to figure it out. And step one of this is to make a pattern. Unfortunately, I cannot use my corset pattern that fits me perfectly because I want a different shaped corset this time. So to do this, I'm going to employ a tried and true cosplay method that I've never attempted, and I'm gonna wrap myself in saran wrap. What's the worst that could happen? So the basic premise of this method, you wrap yourself in saran wrap so that you get a perfectly fitted form to your body. Then you put tape over that to give it a little bit of structure. And then from there, you use a marker to kind of draw out the pattern you want to do. You cut it off yourself very carefully, and then you have pattern pieces. I do think it's going to be a lot easier with some help. So, can I have some help? I need you to wrap me in saran wrap. Let it like come out.
Straight. Stop spinning. Slow. Okay, go.
Okay, this is probably enough saran wrap.
Costco saran wrap has this nice little cutter you put on, and then it just, oh no. Oh no. Costco, why? It's so easy.
Okay, now we need duct tape. I don't know where that is, or if we have any. I didn't really think this through, I just started.
Exactly.
Oh, we can use painter's tape actually. From here to like here needs tape.
Okay. For now.
It'll need to be everywhere, on the front and the back. Yeah, because I need it to cover. It's very uncomfortable. Just trying to get tape all over me. It's getting really warm. Now that we have the tape on, the goal is to draw the pattern onto this. So I'm gonna be in the mirror for a minute and then I'll help with that. I'm basing it off of this that I found for the shape of the corset. I've seen a lot of people do porcelain corsets like the full thing. I'm afraid of doing one that size, so I'm making the scale smaller to hopefully make this an achievable project. It's thinking ahead for future me. Okay, hopefully you can see this. But I have a line down the center, which I'm gonna use, and I'm gonna mirror this, and then I have a seam down the side, and then the back, and then sort of the rough shape where it's gonna kind of be an underbust corset, and then come down. And then I just need you to sort of follow the line all the way across. We have our rough pattern. I'm gonna smooth it out when I take it off of my body and can do things a little bit easier. Next step is to cut this off. I'm free. I have no idea how people do their whole body. That would be a nightmare. So we now have my body shape roughly. Again, this is all guess and check method at this point. My plan for this is I'm going to sort of smooth this out into a nice curve. I'm debating if the right call is actually just to cut this, and then we can see the curves and I can adjust from there. So I'm gonna fold this in half on my center line that I drew of my body, and just Go for it. We're gonna just try to work quickly so that my brain doesn't register that it's afraid of messing up. Because honestly, sometimes that's the most effective method, is just don't let yourself be afraid by being speedy. So we have that, which looks like something. I'm not gonna cut all of it yet. But if we can imagine, that's a shape. That makes sense, I think. I think that looks pretty good, actually. I'm gonna cut the rest of this back panel. This feels like a corset. Okay, 10 out of 10, we're getting there. I then spent a long time debating whether or not I should actually cut this pattern up into multiple pieces, where I should cut it up. Ultimately, I decided that I think it was best to just put it all into one piece, cut the center back, and use it as is. Kind of like a big belt. As you can see by this face, this is someone who's very sure in her decision. Okay, XPS foam. This is Form Light EVA Foam Gray. 3 millimeters. Bought this foam, and I said, it'll probably work. I'm gonna take my Sharpie, trace this out, and then we'll wrap around my body and see what this looks like. Yeah? Yeah. Now we cut it out and see what happens. This already feels pretty good. I don't think I'm going to adjust it or cut it into pieces, because why would I make things harder on myself if I only need to attach this to Warble one time? I'm only gonna do it one time. Also, look at her. I may have gone overboard when purchasing this. If you have never seen this before, this is called Warbler. From what I understand of my limited research, it is a thermoplastic made with sawdust in it that is flexible, moldable, self-adhesive. It paints really well. I don't know, there's a lot of benefits to it, but I know that a lot of cosplayers for the last like 20 years have been using this. So, in theory, all we have to do is cut a piece a little larger than this guy, lay them together with some heat, and they'll stick together, and I can, as it's cooling, form it around my body and let it cool down there, and it will heat form to my body. It feels too simple. Maybe I'll eat these words like later along in the video, but right now I'm like, why doesn't everyone do this? I'm gonna draw this on the marker just like exactly the same as my foam, and then I'll go back in after I've taken this off and draw like essentially a seam allowance. It's kind of like sewing where you have like an edge that I can then fold over once I heat form this. Next steps, we cut it. And again, in theory, I could just use scissors. See this? Now we have all this to work with. I don't know. If you're coming here not for someone just trying to like F around and find out, you're in the wrong place, because we're doing a lot of finding out. So far, it's been good. Positive, very positive. Okay, this is where I fear everything falls apart, is the sticking of it all. I have this heat gun. If you are my parents and are looking for this, I stole it out of your basement. Let me know if you need it back. But everyone else I've seen do this uses like the industrial paint heat guns. I don't know if this is gonna get hot enough. I also worry about my table, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. In theory, I heat this up, I stick some foam to it, and we can wrap it around. Bada bing, bada boom, no problems. So I use this little scrap, and we're gonna test this out because, I don't know, I would rather use a small scale test than use all of this and screw it up now. So here we go. Oh, it smells like burning this machine. How hot do we have to get it? Hotter than that, probably. Oh, she's soft. Okay, so I can do that. Why is this smoking? It's the heat gun that's smoking. What the heck? Maybe it's just dusty because it's old. Like it's hot, but it's not that hot. Okay, small scale test, effective. I don't think this is gonna burn itself apart. It smells a little bit like burnt plastic, but how bad could it be? After my highly detailed test, I felt pretty confident about moving forward with the corset. I put some relief cuts into the warbler so that it would fold around all the curves a little bit better. This ended up working out really well and kept everything super smooth. After that, I started by heating the warbler to get it stuck to the foam. One thing I didn't mention while filming was that warbler actually has two sides, one smooth and shiny and the other one slightly rougher. The shiny one is actually a heat-activated adhesive, so that's why I didn't need to use any glue to get all this together. I did get a little bit carried away and forgot to film the shaping part, but I just waited until the whole thing was cooled down enough that it wouldn't burn my skin, and then I held it in place against my body until it cooled down. I promise it wasn't that interesting. Okay, it's been a minute. The base of this corset is fully heat set and like looks pretty great so far, I'm not gonna lie. We're on to the next step now, which is decorating. So my plan for this is I wanna add a bunch of that sort of like filigree scrollwork detail. And to do that, I could hand carve things or buy a bunch online, but what instead I have done is taken a bunch of silicone molds that people often use for like cake decorating and making fondant pieces, fill them with hot glue, and that gives me these beautiful glue pieces, which we can then stick on, and once they're all painted, you're never gonna notice that they're hot glue, they're just gonna look like beautiful filigree. So to spare you all watching glue dry, I went ahead, filled a bunch of these molds with a bunch of pieces, and we're just gonna try to lay things out and sort of see where we go. I don't have a real plan. That's okay. We'll get there when we get there. So as you saw, we did a coat of the silver paint, and I hope this translates just how freaking shiny this is, because this silver spray paint was like 1,000 out of 10. It made it look so good. So now the next steps that we have, honestly, I say this is all we have left. It's a big step or two, but you know, the two things I have left to do on this are paint up the center panels, like here, with the sort of porcelain look to it. And then I wanna add a bunch of like gemstones. I bought some like pink and greens and some pearls, and we're gonna add a bunch of gemstones to it as well to get it a different kind of shiny. So it's really only 2 steps to finish this project, but they're the longest ones probably. It took way too many coats of white to get this fully covered. I think it's just a problem with my cheap acrylic paint that I have that make this take way longer than I would have liked. But after I got like 6 coats deep, I called it good enough and added a pearl finish to it, and with that, the base coat was finally finished. With that out of the way, I started the floral paint job. I kind of did 3 layers of paint. The first one was just dark green vines with lots of leaves on them. On the center front, I did change it up a little bit and made these sort of wispy vines instead, just for a little bit of contrast. The second layer was this light green, again using that sort of wispy motif, and it added a nice contrast to the thicker lines of the leafy vines. The final layer was these really teeny tiny vines in the dark green with little pink flowers. I love the contrast that these brought because it was starting to look a little bit too like matchy-matchy without them. Once I was 1000% certain the paint was dry, I did 3 thick coats of a glossy taco. The very final step of all of this was to add on a bunch of rhinestones. And with that, I think it's time for the reveal. What do we all think? Is it amazing or is it amazing? I literally am at a loss for words with how much I love this. I feel like delusion is going to be very strong after this, and I'm gonna feel like I can do anything, which is like a good and a bad thing. It's good for you guys because fun videos. It's bad for me because I'm gonna make my projects more and more ambitious. It is what it is. A few things. 1, the fit of this, it could be a little bit better. For my first time using Worbla and making my own pattern, I think it's quite good. I definitely in the future, for my proportions, would love if it like hit a little bit closer to my natural waist. It's just like a little bit too low, and like ultimately it's fine. There's also some like gapping, like you can kind of see I can depress it in here, where I think multiple pattern pieces would help with it fitting a little bit more snug to my waist. But like that's really nitpicky. The holes in the back could be a little bit better. It's kind of hard to put the ribbon through by just drilling a hole through it. Who could have saw that coming? But again, these are all really minor things. Overall, I love how this looks. I love how it like feels to wear. It's very comfortable. All of the hot glue details, the silver spray paint, the painted areas, adding in the rhinestones are just like, when I was outside, they're just like so glittery and they just pick up all the light. It's so good. So good. As cool as this is with like the piratey shirt, I feel like it deserves a gown to go with it. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments. And if you had a good time watching this week, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. I don't know. I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers, and with your help, I can get there a little bit faster. And with that, I'll see you guys next week.